Hey writers, today is Tuesday, April the 30th, 2024, and we have reached the end of another month. Also, about a week and a half ago, on April 20th to 21st, we had an astrological event happen. Jupiter was conjunct with Uranus, and it did this in the sign of Taurus, which it hasn't done this since 1941. So I'm going to share what all of this means for you writers, because you might be thinking, what is all of this astrology stuff and how does it relate? Stay with me here, okay? So I want to share this with you, and then we're going to do some celebrating, and I will tell you about my next podcast episode. So this particular conjunction is a time of endings and beginnings, and it's an opportunity for us to cycle through a series of lessons that we have been working through in our lives. So these lessons came about in 1968 to 69, 1983, 1997, and 2010, 2011. So I want you to think about where you were at those times, what was happening in your life. And I want you to think about the big pivotal decisions you made, and also the beliefs that were formed during this time. Because whatever those beliefs are, and if you look at, let's say you were around, even if you were a kid in 1983, and then now you're an adult, if you look at 1983 and 1997, and even if you were not even born in 1983, look at 1997 and 2010, something was happening in your life. A thematic event was happening, and we're getting ready to go through it again. What's great about this is you get the chance to choose how you want to go through this and what lesson you want to learn. And, in my coaching practice, I've been talking with people about this, and you don't have to be into astrology or anything, but what are these things that cycle through in your life? And when you find them, you can be more intentional about what meaning you want to make and how you want to go through it. So how does this relate to writers, right? Because I talk a lot about writing. That is my main focus, is how do you make meaning from your life through the writing process. So when it comes to writing, if you made a decision in the past about who you are in the world, how you're going to show up in the world, what you believe about yourself, that's going to show up in your writing practice. So understanding what lesson is available to you can help you think about how you want to show up in your writing practice. For others of you, thinking about this in terms of beginnings or endings, or perhaps moments of epiphany or insight, can help you think about how you want to shape your memoir. So let's say that you are writing a memoir that covers these years. Then you think about that pivotal event. You can say, okay, let me think about this event. Was it a beginning, an ending, or did it have an epiphany? Or is it a little bit of all three? And then how can I take that moment and write it in such a way that it illustrates these things? So that's another way you can think about this in terms of your writing life. Some of you are just going to say, wow, astrological stuff is cool and interesting, and maybe I could create a story around this that involves these planetary changes, or maybe I'm going to create a story or a personal essay or something that is related to those time periods. So there's lots of ways that you can think about this that do not have to do with astrology, but I give you a series of questions, which I will show if in the YouTube description if you are watching this on YouTube, but also if you're getting the newsletter, you can read about them there. The final thing I'm just going to say is this week's podcast episode with Natalie McLean is such a great one. So if you are thinking about how to thread a theme through your memoir, this is the episode you want to watch, because we talk about how she did this and how it enhanced the meaning of her work. We also talk about how to handle a social media pylon, which is often many people's biggest fear. I can definitely say it's one of mine. And we talk about so much more in this episode. So the link will show up in the YouTube description. It's also available in the newsletter. So these are all of the things that you get access to. And if you're a newsletter subscriber, you have a whole bunch of additional links to craft essays that I have curated for you. So if you are watching this on YouTube and you're like, but I want to get access to all of these things, sign up for my newsletter so that you get access to my reading roundup. So that's it for this week's episode of my newsletter video. I want to thank you as always for showing up to this community, for contributing to this community, and for all of the ways that you show up to your writing life and to your life, and the ways that you show compassion for others. I wish you all the best this week, and I wish you wonderful seeds being planted in the month of May and getting the opportunity to learn about when they bloom. Peace and love to all of you.